Ain't that right, Hoshino-kun?
Yep. I got the whole thing on tape.
Don't Waste Your Time, a series where I convince you to spend your precious free time playing quality games. This is KoreanTeaKing, and for this episode, I'll be selling you on Lost Judgment and the Kaito Files on the PS4 and PS5.
Get back here!
If you've seen my first video on Judgment,
Watch it now if you haven't.
played the game, and are hungry for more, you should play Lost Judgment. Lost Judgment is the direct sequel of Judgment and takes place after the events of Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon. Aside from the established Kamurocho, Yokohama Ijincho, Like a Dragon's primary setting, is also explorable in Lost Judgment. In this game, you play again as Yagami, our favorite detective and lawyer, introduced in the first game. In Lost Judgment's DLC,
The Kaito Files.
we play as Yagami's dependable ex-Yakuza partner, Kaito. The law may not always serve what is right, and that's when these fists of justice come in. Three years after the first game's events, Yagami and Kaito are still serving as detectives in the district of Kamurocho. But with the previous game's events, two returning characters were inspired to open their own detective agency in the district of Ijincho, Yokohama. These are the righteous thief Sugiura and the tech whiz Tsukumo. Like the first game, Lost Judgment is narrative heavy and continues the Yakuza brand of drama but is relatively realistic compared to the other games in the franchise. I will try not to spoil things, but I will be comparing the stories of Judgment and Lost Judgment. I think that Judgment's pacing and events were more natural in their progression and captivated the player in using them to play another chapter immediately after beating one. On the other hand, Lost Judgment's story was dragging, and some chapters felt like fillers to extend the player's engagement with the story.
Just waiting on you to start the staff meeting.
To sum it up, in Judgment, the player is intrigued and teased about how the events took place, making it more conducive for players to continue with the story. While in Lost Judgment, we can see how the suspects executed the crime, but we are instead baited with the why aspect of the perpetrator, making it character-centric to the plot. Although I was not fond of the story of Lost Judgment as much as the first game, upon writing this script, I just finished the Kaito Files DLC last night and was inspired to start on this video right away. The DLC story removes Yagami entirely,
Aside from a few text messages and references.
With this decision, the spotlight is focused on Kaito. The DLC fleshes out his background and history. We see Kaito as a compelling main character and a protagonist different from the firm and stoic Kiryu, the goofy yet dedicated Ichiban, or the cool-mannered Yagami. Kaito is different yet carries the same heroic stance we expect from the Yakuza series protagonists. With the issues regarding the PC ports of the Judgment games and Takuya Kimura's agency preventing this from pushing through, I see this as a soft transition for Kaito to carry the torch of the Judgment games in the future. Personally, I like Kaito's story far better than the game's main story. Moving to the combat aspect of Lost Judgment, the improvements here are incredible. The shifting among the styles is now much faster and does not kill the rapid pace during intense encounters. The particle effects are also much more mesmerizing as we see aura glows flooding the screen but still can effectively communicate the motions of each punch and kick. In terms of fluidity and visual effects, the Yakuza combat experience is at its best here in Lost Judgment. The Mortal Wounds mechanic has been scrapped entirely. But to balance things out, Yagami and even Kaito are much more prone to getting knocked down and stunned. With this in mind, the game expects the player to properly dodge and block enemy attacks instead of just tanking hits and mashing the attack buttons. Yagami's arsenal has been upgraded and updated. We have the crane style, which focuses on fast attacks and is excellent for dealing with mob fights thanks to its vast area of effect. It is also great for dodging and other agility maneuvers. It is also more reliable and rivals the Tiger style in terms of viability compared to the previous game. Speaking of Tiger style, it returns and is more balanced. It retains its identity as the go-to style to break enemy guards. I noticed nothing new about it, but it is not as overpowered as it was in the first game. Next, we have the Snake style. This style is oriented towards counters and attack redirections. The parry system is extremely satisfying once you learn to time it correctly. Enemies might get intimidated when Yagami attacks with the Snake style, and X surrenders allow the player to take out an enemy instantly. Lastly, if you purchase the Season Pass, an extra style exclusive to the boxing minigame is usable on the streets. True to its name, the boxer style revolves around the use of jabs, straights, hooks, and uppercuts. It is somewhat similar to Kiryu's rush style except for the exclusion of kicks. Still, it improves on this with the addition of counterattack and perfect guard mechanics. On the other hand, Kaito only has two styles, the Bruiser and the Tank. The Bruiser style is fast and similar to Kiryu's Brawler style. It is fast and can preemptively stop enemy attacks with your own. It is great for locking enemies in hit stun. The Tank style is also similar to Kiryu's Beast style. In this style, Kaito automatically picks up items in his immediate surrounding and uses them to attack enemies in a wide area. It can also absorb attacks with its Iron Guard, and a counter can be performed under the right circumstances. These styles are great on their own, but when mastered, the combat's depth increases, and players can perform Devil May Cry-esque combos. Due to Injincho being larger than Kamurocho in terms of landmass, introducing a skateboard as an alternative method to just running is highly welcome. Knowing how to ride one isn't out of Yagami's character, so it doesn't bother me that much. Taxicabs are also available through Yagami's smartphone option, so players wouldn't have to go to the nearest taxicab spot manually. With these additions, it makes exploring Ijincho less tedious. One thing that bothered me with the Ijincho area is the lack of points of interest in it. Perhaps it is just because the stores are widely apart compared to the dense streets of Kamurocho, giving this illusion. Thankfully, in the Kaito files, the story is only set in Kamurocho. Aside from the improvement in combat and traversal, in Lost Judgment, you'll continue performing many investigative tasks like tailing suspects, spying using a drone, and finding clues at crime scenes. What's new is the addition of stealth mechanics. New methods of finding clues, and specific to Yagami, are Parkour Ranpo, the detective dog. I will be tackling these additions separately. Some parts of the game force the player to use stealth to infiltrate or escape situations. Although this was originally one of the main aspects that I looked forward to before the game's release, the game does not utilize it enough, nor is it that deep. New clues are now also available during the investigation segments of the game. Yagami now has a noise amp and a signal detector, while Kaito uses the Primal Eye, Primal Nose, and Primal Ear for sight, smell, and sound-related clues respectively. During some sections of the game, Yagami can jump across obstacles to reach points of a building. Although the paths are linear, the addition of this mechanic allows for a vertical approach to the game's exploration. Ranpo the detective dog is an excellent addition to the cast. It allows the player to stroll around the cities and change pace while maintaining the detective attitude during these downtimes. The game is still filled with lots of contents that is standard for Yakuza games. Upon finishing the main story, the Gauntlet mode is unlocked, which opens up further tasks that challenge the player's mastery of the game's robust combat. Despite Lost Judgment's main story not being as great as the first ones, with all the improvement and additions, this is definitely a must-buy sequel. Players can enjoy Lost Judgment at whatever pace the player chooses to engage it. If you're after a game that showcases martial arts in a robust combat system, this is a great game to check out. If you loved the first Judgment and tried playing older Yakuza games but it didn't appeal to you, this is the best route to scratch that itch. It also holds a lot of content for the price and you'll get your money's worth. As much as I love the game, I have some issues with it as a player. I did not like the story that much.
If you can't already tell.
The topic is serious and is a concern in Japanese society to this current age. However, the execution and the flow of events took a toll on me. The map of Ijincho seems barren, but this may only be a placebo due to the wider distribution of points of interest. But as the section suggests, this is just my personal view, and I hope you get a better experience from the game. Lost Judgment is often on sale in the PlayStation Store with $30 as its lowest price for the PS4 and PS5 versions as of the writing of this script. The Ultimate Edition includes the base game and every DLC. It goes as low as $45. All in all, Lost Judgment is a game that exceeds the first game in almost every way.
That! Why don't you just strip down your... Huh? Because I want you to feel the same humiliation I did. Now,
Whoa, hey, knock it off.
shut it! Do you even know how it feels to get your ass kicked and tossed out into the freezing December cold, butt naked? I won't rest until I strip you down to your bare junk! Better be ready!
Fine, have it your way. An ass whooping it is.
Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Let me know what subject you want me to cover next. Again, this is KoreanTeaKing. Thanks for watching and have an awesome day.